Hi, Dr. Vinay Prasad here from UCSF. I'm back to talk about my new article now out on MedPage today. It's entitled Why I'm Breaking Up with Zoom, an open letter to David Steensma. I encourage you all to read it. I think it will make you chuckle in these trying times. Here it is. So last year, I invited David Steensma, who was then at the Harvard Medical School, to come to OHSU and give us grand rounds. He gave a splendid talk on clonal hematopoiesis. That night at dinner, myself, blood man, David Steensma, we were chatting, and David found out my dirty fossil fuel secret. My secret was I was traveling way too much. I think I was traveling maybe 100,000 miles a year or something like that. And I was tired of it. I was sick of travel. I was sick of hotels and cabs and Ubers and suits, and worst of all, those goddamn airlines. And David said to me, you know what you need to do? You need to block out 6 months of your schedule and say no travel whatsoever. Have a staycation. It will rejuvenate you. In fact, I've done it before in my career and I felt great. And I thought to myself, I don't know if I can do that. Well, then COVID hit. And David was right. I did do it. I ended up following his advice. And this is what I write to him. I say, well, David Steensma, I hope you're happy. I dutifully followed your prescription, and I even came back for a refill. I suspect it isn't quite what you had in mind, but it certainly did the trick. It cured me of my affliction, but like a lobotomy, I haven't quite been the same. And the article goes on to talk about how now that I've been deprived of in-person meetings, I once again crave them. When it first happened, though, I must confess, there was a thrill. In March of 2020, I had a string of canceled talks, conferences, and panels, and I watched my overbook and oversubscribed schedule thin into something quite reasonable. 20,000 miles of economy airfare just vanished off my schedule, and my legs stopped aching just thinking about it. It was more than that, really. It was euphoria. I was free and clear. I had hundreds of hours of my life back. I could do what I wanted. But the feeling didn't last long. I quickly realized that I hadn't been granted freedom, but put in a new prison, and that prison was Zoom. And I talk about Zoom, but the worst part about Zoom for me are all the times you lecture and talk on Zoom, and all you see are those dark squares looking back at you, cameras turned off, microphones muted. I made jokes, I smiled, I laughed, but nothing, no response. That's what crushes your soul. I often wonder about the line between sanity and madness. I think it depends entirely on whether the Wi-Fi is working. If you give a lecture to hundreds of people on Zoom, you're a successful academic. It's what you're supposed to be doing. But if the Wi-Fi is broken, then you are instantly a delusional person shouting at a laptop in an empty room. Many days I wondered which I was. On a couple of occasions, colleagues wanted to have happy hour or meet for drinks on Zoom. 2 stiff drinks of whiskey later, unnatural banter, and suddenly time was up. The meeting was ended by your host. And that's where you'll find the loneliest person in the world, David. Someone who's drinking alone, nowhere to be and no one to talk to. It's a sad moment. I tell David that if he wants to meet, he's got to meet me in person. And I don't care what the consequences are. And in the future, I'm going to take 6 months of my life and I'm going to be Zoom free. And if you want to find me, you find me. And if you can't find me, good luck. You don't need me anyway. I tell David, I would be delighted to have my knees smashed into the seat in front of me for 6 horrific hours in one of those horrible airlines to meet you in person, if you wish. But I'll be damned if I spend even 1 more minute waiting for my host to start the meeting. And then I end my essay by writing, hope to see you around, but promise you there's one place you won't ever see me, which is Zoom. I'm clicking leave, and I hope never to return. And of course, I need to acknowledge the author's note, which is David Steensma has since moved to Novartis. He didn't read or approve this essay, and truth be told, he's probably not that interested in what I plan on doing anyway. But my take-home point is clear. I'm sick of Zoom. And soon, very soon, and no matter what the consequences are, I'm going to stop using it. I'm going to say, block out 6 months. There's no more video chat. You want to find me, you find me. And if you can't find me, good luck to you. And I don't care what you do in retribution. There are many things you might do, and I describe those in the article. So check out the article. There are lots of funny little bits, at least I think they're funny, that I didn't include. And I think it'll cheer you up in these days. So check it out, MedPage Today, Why I'm Breaking Up with Zoom.